Orale locos. OG Loco's back with the live. Thought I'd catch up with you guys, trying to get this right. Bear with me for a second. Try to get this firme, perfecto. You know? Anyway, I want to let people load up. We're going live. Shit, I got a couple dogs here I want to show off to you. I got Brindle Belle, and I got Margot, wherever she's at. I'll be pulling them up in a second. So, I think what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Brindle Belle. I broke down her pedigree on Facebook Live. I uploaded it to YouTube, so get a chance, look at that. Do I got to face this way? Maybe I got to face this way. I don't know. I don't look straight in the camera. But anyway, maybe it's the table. Beautiful Saturday out here in Coon Hollow on the Barty Ranch. You know, about to get my day started. So there's not very much nice weather this time of year, so taking advantage of it. Working on my tan. Got to work on my tan and shit. Anyway, so today we're going to talk dogs, pedigree, genetics, little philosophy. What's upcoming next year in the OG Loco breeding program for OG Loco dogs. And just have a conversation, man. I don't know where this is going. I don't rehearse this shit. I just speak real, so let me just speak. First of all, I want to show off my new dual holsters for my Glock 45s. I just got these. Guy made them for me. So I'm just breaking them in today. They're stamped OG Loco. Still adjusting them. So I got to oil them, break them in, wear them. This guy makes custom leather for me. He's from Pakistan, and he's been making some good stuff. So I really like this dual holster he made for me. So, God, I don't even know what his current web page is. He just gets a hold of me and I put an order. So anyone wants some custom leather, let me know and I'll put you in touch with him. He makes knives, holsters, belts, you name it. Anything leather, he makes it. Ships it in from Pakistan. So before I get, I don't really get political, but I gotta say this. They charge me a tariff. Anything that comes from outside the country, I had to pay the tariff. So I've been hearing all this money we're gonna make off tariffs and other countries are gonna pay the tariffs. That's not the way it's worked for me. Anything I get from outside the country, especially if it comes UPS or FedEx, they're charging me a tariff and I have to pay it. So I don't know if that's how it works everywhere with tariffs, but that's the way I've been seeing it work with me. Anything I order from outside the country, that cost is just passed along to me. So Americans, consumers are paying the tariff, not the other country. This is the way I'm understanding it right now. So anyway, I got charged twice for ordering stuff. 32 bucks every shipment. That's above and beyond shipping. So you pay your shipping, you pay for the product, then they slap you with a tariff above that. So that's something I learned. Still got the OG Loco thermoses. There's Loco with my emblem, my logo. Got t-shirts, got hoodies, got anything I stamp with the OG Loco original gangster logo, we could pretty much get them screened. Um, so if you're interested in some of that, let me know if you want to represent OG Loco brand, the original gangster, uh, old family reds, original gangster attire. You know, we can get them made for you with the logo. So, having said that, let's see. I'd like to start off with a little philosophy before we get into the dogs. Um, how to live to be an OG. OG, long, prosperous life, free, living the best life possible. And, you know, what are some wisdom I could pass along that hopefully someone can learn from? So let me think about, things that I've had to overcome. I guess probably one of the big things learning late in life was treat every man with respect. Okay, every man or every person, man or woman, treat them with respect. That that person um, has basic respect, decency. There may be things about people you don't like, and you don't have to fuck with them. But and there's a lot of people I don't fuck with because it's like, nah, this is not someone I want to be around. I don't want around with me. But I think learning in life was when does you have a legal right to defend yourself? Okay? And if you live in that world that everyone is a dangerous man, so everyone's capable of defending himself, you tend to treat everyone with respect. If you cross the line, then you enter into territory that puts your freedom or your life at risk. So I think that's a good one. Under the law, every human has a right for self-defense, to defend and use reasonable force to defend themselves. Where you don't have a right is to use physical force or lethal force to hurt someone, where you take a preemptive strike, or you do it in revenge. So you can't do it before the fact, you can't do it after the fact. You got to do it in the act of defending yourself. And this is something that was taught by local law enforcement. There were some people that were breaking in the houses and stealing cars, and one of the people defended themselves and used lethal force and ended up killing the people that were robbing them. Then the question was, and the person was arrested. So the community came out and they said, well, how does the average citizen know when it's legal to use lethal force, and not legal to use lethal force? So where you're going to get arrested and charged for a crime versus you were defending yourself. So one of the things law enforcement did is they held some community meetings to sort of define that. So they didn't want people taking things in the law into their own hands, but they also recognize that that citizens have a legal right to defend themselves, and also have a right to use legal force or reasonable force to defend yourself. And that's really the key question is, did you use reasonable force to defend yourself? So taking a preemptive strike where you initiate, you're going to get arrested for, probably premeditated, and probably go to prison for. being vindictive and using revenge after the fact, or you go hunt someone down and go look for them after the fact in retaliation of someone uh, attacking you or hurting you, is you'll probably get arrested and go to prison. So the way law enforcement defined it, you had to use reasonable lethal force during the act of defending yourself when that crime is occurring. And then the question is, was the force reasonable? I think that's the legal test. So if you're in a situation where someone puts you in fear for your life, or fear of puts someone in front of you, like a child or wife or a family member, in fear of their life, that you feel they're going to hurt them or lethally or use lethal force on them, then you have a legal right to defend yourself. One is because you're in fear for your life and you have a legal right to defend yourself. Two is if they're hurting a family member in front of you, you have a legal right and fear for their life to defend them. Um, and by all means, I'm no lawyer, but that's the way law enforcement explained it to the community. So I think everyone still has to use their best judgment. What they made it clear was you cannot take preemptive strikes and use lethal force against someone, and you cannot use vengeance to go look for someone and use lethal force after the fact. That'll get you arrested and put in prison. But during the act, the question is, was it reasonable? At what point was the force that you were using to defend yourself or loved ones was reasonable? And if that led to a lethal decision, then uh, that's the question. Was that reasonable and was it justified? So I always believe treat everyone with respect. Um, don't initiate violence, but if violence occurs, you finish it there, and don't try to get vengeance. If you don't handle it during the act, then um, you will be arrested and you'll end up going to prison because you didn't take care of it during the act of you defending yourself and you being in fear for your life or loved ones. So that's really the key. That's really the criteria. You have to be in fear for your life or in fear for loved ones, and it can't be a perception fear. There has to be a real fear, like they had a weapon, they had threatened to kill you or unalive you, they had threatened to hurt your family or friends in front of you. But there has to be some uh, evidence that they were using lethal force against you and that you had a legal right to use lethal force to defend yourself in the act of you had fear for your life or fear for your loved one. That's really the key question. So that was one of the things that learning in life of um, you don't go starting problems, you don't go initiating problems, you handle your business. If you're ever put in a situation where you're in fear for your life or fear for your loved ones, then it needs to be justified and to handle it there, finish it there. Because if you don't, and then you go try to get vengeance after the fact, then you will be arrested and you'll be put in prison because you were no longer in fear for your life because it was after the fact. And I think the big question always comes into play with this incident that occurred in our community was um, the person, I think, had attacked the property owner. Um, he had like a knife or a screwdriver or something, and the property owner ran him over with a car and ended up killing a person, and he was arrested. So at what point was he defending himself? And I think what the law enforcement said is once he retreated, he was no longer a threat, and the property owner ended up unaliving him after the fact. Who's fighting here? Hey, get over here! Where you guys at? Come on! So that's something to learn. I think understand you know in the United States of America you have a legal right to defend yourself, and you have a legal right to use lethal or reasonable force in defending yourself, and it always has to be in self-defense, and you have to have a fear for your life, and there has to be evidence. That's what I would tell people: is handle your business, man. Handle it on the spot, and you know there has to be a real threat, and if that's not there, then just fist up. And but if there is a lethal threat, then you know you have a legal right to use lethal force. You know, it's still a judgment call. Everyone needs to make that judgment for themselves. But I guess what I'm trying to make it clear is preemptive strikes and vindictive strikes after the fact are not legal, and that'll get you incarcerated, probably for life for a very long time. Little wisdom, little wisdom to share. Um, just use your best judgment. Here? Hey, come here. It's Brindle Belle with the neighbor's dog. I gotta pull her up. She's over there fighting with him. Brindle Belle, Margot, come here. So that's just my 2 cents on wisdom to be an OG. You know, just be a very serious person and treat everyone with respect. And then if you ever put in a situation, just handle your business. That's the way it goes. So what I was talking about earlier today was Brindle Belle um, and her breeding, how my Mayday old family red dogs now are becoming a pure line, a pure family. And at what point do they become pure, you know, in the genetic sense? That they become their own family of dogs and they become a pure form of dogs. And in looking at the pedigree and genetics and looking at other family of dogs, it seems to be when you're breeding in a family off all related dogs, when you have a 1/8 out to 1/16 out cross in your 4 or 5 generations, at that point, the dogs are pretty much pure. Okay, because you only have an 1/8 or a 16 out cross now. The majority of the dogs. Hey, Belle, over here. Belle. The majority of the blood is already purified, and you have a slight out, and that becomes a pure line, about a 1/8 out. And that typically happens in your 4th generation, where in the 4th generation, you're going to have 7 of the 8 dogs in that in your 4th generation pedigree are all going to be related, and only one of the 8 dogs on the 4th generation is a different family of dogs. And at that point, that becomes the 1/8 out, and that becomes the pure line. Now you have a pure family in your pedigree, and now you can claim that as your own family of dogs because you've line bred and created a family using related dogs and individuals. So Brindle Belle is 3/4 old family red, 1/4 Mayday. We'll be breeding her back either to Scarface or Crazy Horse, which are pure OG Loco old family reds, meaning those dogs have been line bred and family bred for 35 years, and there's no outs. They're pretty much all line bred off the old Hemphill Wilder, Hemphill Klaus dogs. No outs, and all my dogs are pretty much related in 4 generations because they're all off OG Bull and Ellison's No Bones About It, and I use siblings to create my family. So it's a very tight genetic family of dogs that have a direct link to the old Hemphill Lightner dogs and look like them and work like them. So that's where we have. But I had to add the out because when you get too tight, the dogs become uh, brute stock, meaning they lose their working ability, they lose hybrid vigor, they get inbreeding depression. A lot of things start happening. You'll start seeing a lot of genetic problems pop up too when you get too tight. And at that point, you're breeding. At least I'm breeding a working dog, a hunting dog. So the dog has to work. It doesn't matter really how pure or how tight it is. If it's not working, it does me no good. So as a breeder, you're evaluating your dogs as are they getting too tight? Am I losing something in their working ability? Do I have to add something? Come here, Margot. Come here. I want to pull up Margot. Come here, Margot. Good girl. So, this is OG Loco Torrance's Margot. Okay, I'll talk about her in a little bit. So basically, that's what you're looking at is, do you need an out to keep them working? Especially if you're hunting dogs, and I do a lot of hunting. These dogs have to hunt. They have to work. They have to have prey tag. They have to want to do it. I don't need dogs that they just they don't want to hunt. It does me no good. So I try to keep a little bit of genetic diversity, but keep them pure as possible of my family. So Margot here is a good segue. Um, Margot is off my blood, but she has an out. So OG Scooby, who's my pure OG Loco Old Family Red, is her great grandfather. Oh. So I think it's OG Scooby or OG Kratos. Is it OG Scooby or OG Kratos? Might be OG Kratos. Yeah, I think it's OG Kratos is her great grandfather. And she's a product of when we bred de Los Angeles's Delilah, who was a daughter of OG Kratos, bred to his littermate sister, Stort's Belladonna. They were littermates, both off of OG Bull, bred to Ellison, no bones about it, produce Delilah. Then Delilah was bred to OG Knox, which was an outcross. And he was an inbred son of Garner's Chemo, pure on the Chinaman Frisco blood. So we took an inbred dog on the Old Family Red and bred it to an inbred dog on the Chinaman, using two very tightly bred families of dogs that were working. And we created those 50-50 crosses, which are the Chinaman Old Family Red dogs that I have some of that blood today. So that was then, oh, that's right, she is a granddaughter of OG Scooby. So they took a son off that breeding. I think it's Scrappy. I think it was De Los Angeles Scrappy, who was bred to OG Loco's Lady in Red, which was a pure OG Loco dog by OG Scooby. So that produced Torrance's Chente. Chente is 3/4 OG Loco Family Red, 1/4 Chinaman off the Knox dog, double bred on the Chemo blood. Bred Chente to a pure Lonzo dog, heavily bred on the Lonzo blood off the Mannix Jesse James. I think it was line bred Mannix Jesse James. Heavy bred on Lonzo blood. That created Champion Flash. So Champion Flash was a champion hog hunting dog. Uh, Basically a three-way cross. He was the Old Family Red with the quarter Chinaman, bred to a pure Lonzo dog. Okay. Then they took Champion Flash and they bred him to Margie, which is her mom. And Margie was a pure red boy on the bottom off the Holland uh, Haymaker blood. And her top side was Jeep Red Boy, Rascal, I believe. Jeep Red Boy Rascal, which was Grand Champion Blackjack, bred to some red boy stuff. So she was basically a Jeep red boy rascal dog. That creates Margot. Okay, this is the gift I got back from OG family, which was Margot. Margot being off my blood, uh, off the Kratos, Knox, Scooby blood, but with outs on the Lonzo Jeep red boy blood. So the thinking is to take her back to her grandfather or great grandfather, OG Scooby, in a couple years, assuming he's still a breedable, um, and tighten the blood back up on my pure OG local blood. So that gives me the genetic diversity, all still within the same family, and then adding more working blood to my family to keep it going. So once I breed her back to OG Scooby, then I use those pups to breed back into like Scarface and purify the blood again. And you just repeat the process. But I really like Margot. She's a badass little bitch. She's only like 3 or 4 months old. But one of the things I wanted to show why I have her up here, she got that red eyeliner. And that's something I haven't seen on my dogs. They get eyeliner, looks like eyeliner around their eyes, and it's red. So I see it in Margot and I see it in Trixie. I do not see it in my Puro family reds. Okay, I don't see it in my Red Boy old family reds or my Mayday old family reds. My 50-50 dogs. But I do see it in Trixie and I see it in Margot. So they ended up getting this red eyeliner around the eyes like they put makeup on or something. And I was like, wow, what a trip. I had never seen that. I believe it's coming from the old family red genes because the common ancestor between Margot and Trixie are my pure OG local family reds in their bloodline. But why it showed up in the crosses and don't show up pure, I don't know yet. But it's something I did notice. And Trixie is 3/4 Mayday, 1/4 old family red. So it showed up on her too. So I just want to show Margot, keep an eye out for her. She is built, man. This is a solid dog. I mean, and I really believe, well, the Red Boy dogs are known for being heavy bone dogs, and so are the Lonzo dogs. So I think what happened with Margot here is crossing my old family red blood with the Lonzo blood with the Red Boy blood, kept this heavy bone on them. And she's a really heavy bone dog. She's solid. And she's very game for a puppy. For a 3-month-old, 4-month-old puppy. She's going to be one I'm going to have to really watch because she's very temperamental. She's very game. And she'll get in trouble with the big dogs, which I don't want them to hurt her. And I can't kennel her with the other pups because I've had some problems and I had to separate them. But, out here running loose with me, she likes to just have fun. But if you put her in a confined environment, like kenneling with another dog, I don't know what it is, if they get on each other's nerves but once that switch goes off, it goes off, and you wouldn't be able to tell she's a puppy the way she's putting in work. She works like a big dog, so I had to separate her. But I really like her, so I think she'll be a good asset to my program in the future. So I'm gonna put her down. I want to bring Brindle Belle up here. Belle, come here, come here, come here, Belle, come here, girl, come here, girl, come here, come here. Good girl. Okay. Go. Good girl. I don't know if I could pick up Belle. I'll try. She's a big female. Come here, Belle. Belle is a year old. Oh. Come on, Belle. Good girl. Good girl. Belle's a year-old female. Turned a year old in October. And she is my 3/4 old family red, 1/4 Mayday. And she's on the bigger side. But she looks different than my pures. So she still has that influence from the Michael Myers blood in her, which is heavily bred on the Mayday Dragon Lady, brother sister breeding, with the out on the Grand Champion buck. So you can still see that out in her with a quarter out. When I breed her back to my Puro family reds, a lot of that trait, you'll see more of the old family red in the pups because we're breeding back into the pure stuff. And you can see that in Dora. She looks more like a Puro family red with the 1/8 out compared to Belle here, who's the quarter out. So I think Belle's gonna be a beast. She's still puppyish for a year old, but I could already see in her personality, she's after the cats right now. She's fighting with the neighbor's dogs. She doesn't fire up with my dogs on the yard. That's why I call her puppyish. Um, but with stray dogs, she's firing up, and the cats she's trying to get. And I just think in another year, she's really gonna mature out and just like her mom did. Her mom is a beast of a dog. And her mom, you can't let loose. Her mom will hit anything she can grab. And Belle took about 2 years to mature, 2.5 years. She used to be real puppyish too. So some of these old family reds mature a little longer, take a little longer to mature. But when they turn on, you know, it could be 2.5. They're great working dogs. But you could normally tell, like I got some dogs that are firing up at a year, you know, like Margot here firing up at 4 or 5 months old. But I get some that take a little longer. So every dog's an individual. You have to evaluate it. And even when they are working, you still have to evaluate them and test them to see, do they have the working traits and the drive and the gameness and everything that you want to pass on to your future generation. So I really don't like to test the working ability of a dog until one, it's fully matured mentally and physically, and two, it's already been schooled, you know, so it knows what I want from it in hunting. Then the question is, now that you're matured and you've been schooled, is, are you a true hunting dog? Do you love to hunt? And do you enjoy it? And is it a specimen on my yard that I want those genetics from that specific dog passed on to the next generation? So each dog you evaluate, and they have to meet your standard before you decide to breed them. And if it does, then you breed them, and then you hopefully they pass their genes on to the next generation and you get better dogs. But what I really like about her, I'm almost like, I'm gonna breed her back into my pure stuff, but I think I'm gonna breed her back into the Tombstone Bolio or Mayday blood, because the old family red Mayday dogs are becoming their pure line, but they look different. And to me, she looks more like a buck dog. She's leggier, longer, has a different shaped head. She's leaner. She's solid, heavy boned, good muscle, but she's not a fat dog by no means. And she's very athletic. So, and if you look at her head, she has a different look to her than my Puro family reds. Like if I brought up Gingerbread, you can really see the difference. Who's a Puro family red compared to the quarter out on the Mayday. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Belle in next year. She's just a year. She's a litter mate sister to Toscano's Bucko, who he's already earned like 3 or 4 crossbones at a year old. The Bucko's just a beast of a dog. That litter, out of that litter, those dogs tend to be working. So I have high hopes for Brindle Belle. So you want to go? You want to go, huh? And say bye to everybody? Say bye to everybody. Say bye, bye, bye. Go ahead, go. You can go. And because she's puppyish is the reason I could let her loose on the yard. She doesn't go near the other dogs. She'd rather play. She's playing with Margot and they're having a good time. Which is the time I really enjoy my dogs, to be honest with you, is I'm able to do more things with them before they flip that switch. So you're able to get a lot of training, hands-on training. Once they flip the switch and they're on, you really can't let them loose no more. So you gotta find dogs that get along, and then, or you gotta take them out on their own. There's no way you could turn them loose on the yard because you're gonna have a yard accident. But up until they flip a switch, you know, you could turn them loose and have fun with them. I still watch them, I monitor them, because even though these young dogs aren't like the pups and Brindle Belle haven't flipped the switch, that doesn't mean one of my other dogs, if they get too close with them, won't grab them. So you still have to be out here monitoring them. You can't just turn the dog loose and walk away. So I try to I supervise all my dogs as they're working, just to evaluate who gets along, who doesn't get along. So that's it on Brindle Belle. That's it on Margot. That's it on the genetics. I think what you're going to see OG Loco's yard go through the next 5 years. We're going to have still, I don't know how much longer I could breed pure, to be honest with you. I got a couple pure breedings left. But I'm going to have to evaluate those pups because it's been like 35 years. You know, they've been straight Hemphill, Klaus Hemphill Wilder blood for a long time. So I don't know how much longer I can continue before I start seeing genetic problems or lack of working ability. But I'm already prepared because I got the Red Boy out, I got the Mayday out, I have the Chinaman out, then soon I'll have the Jeep Red Boy Rascal out in Serenity, and then Margot has the Jeep Red Boy Rascal out. So I have outs if I have to use them, and I eventually will have to use them, but I'm going to try to keep my pure stuff going as pure as long as possible, as long as they're working. They got to be working. They got to be gang. But the second I start seeing that they don't work at that high level, then I'm going to lean more toward blending in my crosses and then to add more working ability. But that's OG Loco's yard. We got a couple nice breedings coming up next year if anyone's interested. You know, I'm going to have some pure stuff. I think Dora's pregnant, so that's an accidental breeding. I was informed that Dora bred with her grandfather, Loco, on accident. They were tied next to each other. I didn't know that Dora was in season. She had a silent heat, but I was informed that they did have a tie. And so anyway, I moved her after I heard that, so I don't know if Dora did get pregnant or not. We'll know in December. If she is pregnant, those dogs will be available to the public because one, she's young, I didn't plan it. I was gonna do the breeding, but not till next year after I worked with her a little more. So to be fair, I'm gonna just try to get a lot of these dogs in good working homes and get some feedback on if those pups turned out or not. And then I'll decide whether I want to breed Dora again next year, whether I breed her to Scooby or whether I breed her back to Wedo. But we'll see what happens. So that there may be some pups in December, I don't know. Those will probably go for 500 plus 500 shipping anywhere in the USA, because it wasn't a planned breeding. But they're not going to go to just anybody. It's going to be on a first come first served basis, and it has to be someone committed to the OG Loco breeding program, because we do value the blood, and we do value who they go to make sure they go to working homes. And they have the best chance of being successful. So that's the thinking. After that, I do have some planned breedings next year. So I don't know if they're going to go in the spring or the winter. I might do one in the spring and one in the winter. I'm not sure yet. But I'm thinking next year we're going to do a pure, probably Scooby, because Scooby's older. So we'll probably do Scooby to gingerbread to produce some pure OG Loco family reds, which is his granddaughter, and then probably Scooby to Miss Bingo, which is the red his granddaughter, but she has a red boy out. So we'll be creating some pure OG Loco family reds off Scooby and gingerbread, and then we'll be producing 3/4 old family reds with the quarter out and red boy off Scooby to Miss Bingo. Both Miss Bingo and gingerbread are granddaughters of Scooby, so it's all in the family. And what I was trying to tell people, if I do that, I'm leaning toward doing that. Anyone looking to start their own breeding program, old family red breeding program, getting a puppy off Scooby and gingerbread to breed to a puppy off Scooby to Miss Bingo, you're set, man. I mean, you would be real tight family breeding with the quarter out on the red boy. And if you bred those two pups, you'd be line breeding off OG Scooby, who's a proven game dog, off a line of proven game dogs. And you would create the 7/8, 1/8. Basically, you'd create 7/8 old family reds with the 1/8 red boy out, which would be a pure old family red if we follow the logic that 1/8 out is pretty much makes your dog a pure dog at that point. So they should look like the pure old family reds, the dark red, the burgundy red with the dark red nose, red lips, red toenails, and golden eyes. But they should have a little bit of that red boy in them that gives them that extra spark, that high energy, that high prey drive, the deep gameness. That's the thinking. By adding the red boy blood, that was the thinking to produce dogs like that. So there's an opportunity. I think I'm going to do the Chinaman breeding next year, which would be Corvino, 3/4 old family red, quarter Chinaman, double bred on the Garner's chemo dog on the bottom. Bred to my pure Chinaman, which is OG Loco Diamond. She's pure Chinaman off the Epinet Earl Jr. and also has the chemo blood. So she's related to Corvino through OG Knox, which was the inbred chemo dog. But she's a pure Chinaman because she has no old family red, and she's heavily bred on the Earl Jr. blood, pure Chinaman blood. Where Corvino has the same dog, OG Knox, and double bred on the chemo, but he has the out on the old family red stuff. So by breeding them together, I'm going to double up on the Chinaman and then have an out on the old family red. So we'll be doing that just to see what we get. And then I may breed, I'm probably going to breed Corvino to Serenity, which is my cheap red boy rascal dog. So I don't know if I'm going to do both of those next year, but if I do one, I think I'm going to do Serenity first to Corvino. And then depending on where Diamond is, if she's fully on by next year, I'll do Diamond. If she takes a little longer to mature, I'll give her a little longer to mature before I breed her. But that's the thinking in the next year or so. And people ask, how much? How do you get one? Well, one is how you get one is you send me an email, tell me what you're interested in, and get on the list. And then typically when I do the breeding and I know how many pups are available to the public, I'll notify you, but I'll go in chronological order, like who contacted me first. Are you interested in a pup? I have this available for this price. Rule of thumb on my pricing: young dogs, first time breedings, are probably all going to start about 500, 750. I don't really charge a lot for them. They're ADBA registered. They're going to come with worm. They're going to have two worming shots, puppy shots, and off proven dogs, good dogs. But because the dogs aren't proven producers, I don't know. I try to price them at a reasonable price because I don't know how those dogs are going to produce. Anything coming off proven producers is going to be more, obviously, because we have a history of proven dogs that came off that breeding. Either it's a repeat breeding or it's a similar breeding where the, the sire and dam both have produced high caliber working dogs. So those will be a little more. And then the pure stuff, that's always going to be hard to get. You have to be OG family. Anything like on the pure Chinaman or the pure old family red blood, OG family gets first shot at it. Um, and then what is ever's left over after everyone gets their shot at it, uh, then I offer to the public. But most of the times there isn't any available for the public. So, and if they are, they're not cheap because normally everyone wants to keep their pups because it's rare blood, it's hard to get, and it was planned out for years. And if they get one, they don't want to give it up. They want to hold on to it. And if you can get it from them, they're not gonna. It's not gonna be cheap. And what I mean cheap is they're not gonna be under $2,000. Are they gonna be like 5, 10,000? No, but they're not gonna be under two. They're at least 2,000 starting there. But you can get OG local dogs from 500 to 750 to 1,200. Depends on the breeding. Depends on how many I have and how many are going to OG family, private stock, and how many are left over for the public. But you just got to get in line. You just got to tell me what you want. And then you have to just be ready. You know, when something is available, um, you just have to be ready that that's what you want and you're ready to acquire one. Because I don't breed too often. We're looking, it'll be another couple years. I never repeat. I guess this is one thing. And of all the dogs I've bred, I never repeat that breeding. So every breeding becomes a one of a kind. So if I breed Scarface to gingerbread and I get 5 pure OG Loco dogs off of that, if I ever repeated that breeding, it'd be 4 or 5 years down the road because I like to mix up my dogs a little bit. So those may be the only 5 in the world dogs off of Scarface and gingerbread because I may not repeat the breeding. Uh, so you get one of a kind. So even a lot of these dogs are related, they're not the same, exactly the same. They're going to be different mixes, different sires, different dams. Um, so that's part of one. We're looking for which blood clicked with sire and dam. And then 2, we want to keep everyone that gets an OG local dog has something that's rare, one of a kind. There isn't a lot of them, and there's value to it. It's not like you can go buy these dogs from anybody. There's a ton of them out there. There may only be 5, and that might be it, and you would have one of 5 in the world if that's something you wanted. So something to think about. And I'm a businessman, no games, no bullshit. Just tell me what you want, send the money, we get it done. You get your paperwork, it gets shipped. It's that fast. I really don't have time to get caught up in bullshit. And politics is like, do your homework, figure out what you want. Don't be fickle. Don't, you know, if you want it, like I do, if I want something, I save up and I buy it because that's what I want. I get everything I want. I mean, if I really want it, I save up, I do my research, and I acquire it because that's something I really wanted. If I really don't want it, then I just don't put that effort into it. So I view that anybody that really wants one uses the same approach. That if you really want it, you'll get it because Nobody can stop somebody from getting something they really want because they've already determined in their mind that's what they want and they'll figure out a way to get it. So, having said that, I'm going to wrap up this live. Out there to all my locos, to OG Loco family, to, we ride straight, ride proud, you know, we live in the fast lane and stay out of trouble and stay free, man. Take care. I'm out.